let's continue. We're gonna actually set those very phrases up and add those whole numbers. This first one says 493 is increased by 29. Well, if I have 493 and I'm going to increase it by something, right? I'm going to add by 29 or add 29 to it. So I line up the ones digits, I line up the tens digits. Now let's add. 3 plus 9 is 12. We're going to bring down the 2, carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 2 more is 11. Oops, I said that wrong. 1 plus 9 is 10, and 10 plus 2 is 12. Bring down the 2, carry the 1. And then finally, 1 and 4 is 5. There's our sum. Next, find the total of, that's another way we can say it right, total. Finding the total of these three numbers. Now this time I'm going to line them up. Actually, let me see here. Yeah, let's line them up. 39, 3, 441, and 17. 9 and 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13, plus 7 is 20. Bring down the 0, carry the 2. 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 4 is 9, 9 plus 1 is 10. Bring down the 0, carry the 1. 500 is our total. 500 is our sum. Let's keep going. Find the sum of 7,427 and 3,214. Again, we're going to start off by lining them up. So 7, 4, 2, 7, 3, 2, 1, 4. Line up the ones digits, line up the tens digits, and so forth. 7 plus 4 is 11. Bring down the 1, carry the 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 more is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. And 7 plus 3 is 10. Here's where our comma goes. What is 81 more than? There's that one, more than, right? If something is more than something, we're going to add something to it. So 81 more than what? 993. So 993, but I need 81 more than that. So I'm going to add 81 to it. 3 plus 1 is 4. 9 plus 8 is 17. Bring down the 7, carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10. And here's where my comma goes if I want one. And finally, number 13. George Johnson earned salaries of $72,416, $78,211, and $81,299 during the last 3 years. Find the total earnings for those 3 years. So we're going to add up his 3 salaries and see how much money he made in those 3 years. That means I'm going to have to be really careful and line them up. Ooh, I don't know what that is. And 81 to 99. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 9 is 16. Bring down the 6, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 1 more is 3, plus 9 is 12. Bring down the 2, carry the 1. 1 and 4 is 5, plus 2 is 7, plus 2 more is 9. Nothing to carry. 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 1 more is 11. Bring down the 1, carry the 1. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus 7 is 15, and 15 plus 8 is 23. And I know I add a little bit quicker than some of you. Please don't get frustrated. I do this every day. I've done this for 31 years. This is the beginning of my 32nd year. So yeah, I can add a little quicker. Take your time. If you need to, do it off in the margin. And you've got this. Now, the same, well, we're still going to continue with whole numbers, but now we're going to subtract them. So let's continue here. For subtraction, we have some vocabulary. The number that we start with that we're going to subtract from is called the minuend. The number we're subtracting from something is the subtrahend, and their total is called a difference. So that's similar to sum, isn't it? Difference is the result that we're going to get. Now, subtraction has some properties as well. If you subtract any number from the same number, you get 0. If you subtract any number and 0, the number, if you subtract 0 from any number, you get the number itself back. Now, does commutative property work for subtraction? Let's see. 8 minus 3 is 5. But 3 minus 8, hold on, that's going to be a negative 5, isn't it? And again, we'll learn about signed numbers eventually, but no, these don't work the same way. So commutative property does not work with subtraction. How about associative property? Let's see. 3 minus 2 is 1. And so then if we did 5 minus 1, we get 4. Let's do the other one. 5 minus 3 is 2, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Oh, wait a minute. That's not equal either, so no. Commutative property and associative property do not work with subtraction. All right. Let's continue. Find each difference. 18 minus 18. We just learned a rule that said when you subtract a number from itself, you get 0. We have 9,143, and we're going to subtract from it 122. I'm going to line up the ones, line up the tens, line up the hundreds. 3 minus 2 is 1. 4 minus 2 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0. And if there's not something there, it is a 0. So 9 minus 0 is still 9. 9,021 is the difference we were looking for there. On number 16, we're going to subtract 697 minus 49. And again, line it up. All right. 7 minus 9, I can't do that. So I'm going to have to borrow. So let's remind you about that. You can actually borrow from this tens digit a 10. But that's going to make the 9 go down to an 8. And now I get to add 10 to that 7. So I now have 17 minus 9. 17 minus 9 is 8. Let's keep going. 8 minus 4 is 4. And then 6 minus 0 is 6. There's our difference. Let's do it again. 1,000 minus 762. And we're going to have to borrow again, aren't we? Now, if you have to borrow all the way back, see, I don't have enough to subtract 2 from anything here or any of them. So I'm going to go all the way over here. And I'm going to borrow a 10. That's going to leave a 0 there, isn't it? But that's going to give me 10 here. But that's not what I want either. So I'm going to back up a little bit further. You know what? Hold on a second. I don't like that I made my line that way. Okay, so we're going to borrow from the 1. It's going to leave a 0. That's going to make that 10. But I'm going to borrow from that 10 and give it to him. But I need this one to have something, so I'm going to borrow from that 10. Oops, I left a 9. You know what? Let me start over. I just feel so bad here. I just messed this all up because I got obsessed with the little line. 1,000 minus 762. We're going to borrow all the way back. So we're going to borrow from this. It's going to give me a 10, so I'm going to give it to this guy. But I'm going to borrow from that 10. That 10 is going to go down to 9. I'm going to give the 1 to the number following, which is going to make him a 10. I'm going to borrow from that 10. It's going to leave behind a 9. I'm going to take the 10 I borrowed and add it to the digit to the right. Now I have 10 minus 2 is 8. 9 minus 6 is 3. 9 minus 7 is 2. And I had 0 there, right? So 238 is what we're looking for. Now let's look at some key phrases that mean subtraction. Subtract, difference, less, less than, take away, decreased by, subtracted from. And again, just like the other one, I want you to take note of this guy. He is also more than and less than are the big ones, right? They're the ones that are written opposite of how they're stated. Oh, and look at that, subtracted from does that too. Other than that, let's start. We're going to try to get this one in real quick in this video. 15 taken from, 15 is taken away from 34. So that means 34 minus 15. I'm going to have to borrow, aren't I? I'm going to borrow from the 3, which is going to leave behind a 2, and I'm going to give the 10 to the 4. That's 14 minus 5, which is 9, and 2 minus 1 is 1. We have 108 less 36. Line them up. 8 minus 6 is 2, and I need to borrow. So that's 0, make it a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7, and then I've got 0 in front of him. Done. Let's continue. 124 less than. Ooh, there's that one where it's written the opposite. Another big hint about subtraction. At this point, we aren't familiar with, or we haven't introduced how you subtract larger numbers from smaller numbers. So here we go. Looks like I'm going to have to borrow all the way across again. From the 3, I'm going to take 10, I'm going to take 1, so that's going to be behind a 2. But I'm going to give him a 10. From that 10, I'm going to borrow 1. It's going to leave behind a 9. That's going to give me a 10 here. I'm going to borrow from that 10. It's going to leave behind a 9 and add the 1 in front of the 2. 12 minus 4 is 8. 9 minus 2 is 7. 9 minus 0 is 9. And 2 minus 1 is 1. Find the difference of 62,222. Yeah. 62,222 and 39,898. And we're going to have to borrow all the way across again. Let's do it. From the 6, I'm going to take 1. It's going to leave behind a 5. Gives me 12. I'm going to drop that down to an 11. Going to give me a 12. Going to drop him down to an 11. Make him a 12. Going to drop him down to an 11. Oops, it's going to make that one a 12. So now let's do it. 12 minus 8 is 4. 11 minus 9 is 2. 11 minus 8 is 3. 11 minus 9 is 2. And 5 minus 3 is 2. Oops, and if I want the comma, it goes right there. And here. And real quick, one more time, get us under 15 minutes. The radius of Jupiter is 43,441 miles. The radius of Saturn is 7,257, less than the radius of Jupiter. Find the radius of Jupiter. Okay, well, one is larger than the other, isn't it? So let's find the difference. 43,441 minus 7,257. I'm going to subtract. I'm going to have to borrow 1 for the 7, aren't I? I'm going to borrow from the 4. It's going to leave behind a 3. And 11 minus 7 is 4. I'm going to have to borrow again. From the 4, it's going to leave behind a 3, gives me 13. 13 minus 5 is 8. 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 minus 7, I can't, I got to borrow. 4 becomes a 3, give the 10 to the 3. So it's 13 minus 7 is 6. And 3 minus 0 is 3. So 36,184. I did it.